most successful business profiles on Google. This is a part of our series of webinars that we're doing. Just as a reminder, hopefully you're aware, if you're not, we've been working on a whole series of educational webinars this year that kicked off a couple months ago, and we are doing a webinar every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 to cover a wide variety of topics and best practices related to digital marketing. We just did a couple on sports tourism. We have a whole variety of these that we're doing on social media, all kinds of things, to just try and get some additional education resources out to our partners as we recover from the impacts of COVID-19 and the 2020 hurricane season. So I encourage everybody to check these out and then pass them around. These are available for free to not only CVBs, but to all of our partners. So if you're unable to make one of the 11 o'clock times, we are recording all of these, and we are going to be posting them up on that industry portal as well. So if it seems like it's something that would be relevant to your attractions, hotels, any of your local partners, by all means, feel free to share the entire webinar list, or the link where they can find all of the recordings, whatever you'd like, because they're definitely welcome to attend all of these. We will have our last really webinar of this year next week, and then we're kind of rolling into the holidays. We felt like not a lot of people would be available to attend as we got closer to Christmas and year end. So we'll be picking back up with a new list and a whole new selection of topics in the new year. So I encourage everybody to kind of keep an eye on that webinars page. We'll also send out an email letting you guys know when those new topics and registration links are up. In the new year, we're planning to cover some more topics related to, hopefully, to product development, more sports, some group travel. Those are the kind of goals as we actually start to see that vaccine roll out and hopefully see travel picking up. We're going to go a little bit further from digital marketing, ideally, into some real topics that get you into actually bringing people back to your region physically. So keep an eye out for that list, and we'll get that out to y'all as soon as we have that up, and so you can get registered and hopefully get some of the some time to attend, or at least watch some of the recordings. That is kind of the webinar series situation, and this particular webinar relates to Google My Business. It is part of something else I want to make everybody aware of, which is our Google Recovery Toolkit. Through a partnership with Miles, we have the ability to offer anybody the Google Recovery Toolkit for free. And so that's available through our industry portal as well. You just click on that link. It'll tell you where to go and how to log in. You just need the password, which is Louisiana. It's not really complicated. So you can get in and get access to the Google Recovery Toolkit, which also covers a variety of digital marketing topics, SEO, SEM, content development, all kinds of things, and has some ability to ask questions and have some office hours and get a little bit more of a handle on some of those topics as well. So that is also free, and so I want to make sure everybody was aware of that, to log in, dig around, look at what topics you might have questions about, and kind of start to get a feel for some of those. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kim Palmer, who is going to be presenting today on uncovering the secrets of the most successful business profiles on Google.
Thanks, Jennifer, and welcome everyone. Excited to go through today's topic, which is uncovering the secrets of the most successful business profiles on Google. I am going to go ahead and hide my camera because it drives me crazy to look at myself while I'm talking at the same time. But we will have time for questions here at the end. Again, I'm Kim Palmer. I am the director of our Google DMO program here at Miles Partnership. We've had the opportunity to work with a number of your DMOs and tourism businesses over the course of the last several years in helping everyone maximize their presence on the Google platform. And this particular effort is really helping our business owners and destinations understand how they can use some of the tools available in Google to recover from the impacts of COVID-19. A lot of the information you'll see here today comes from the fact that we have worked with over 200 DMOs around the country and the world in supporting their Google online presence. In the process of doing that, we've audited over 70,000 Google business profiles, and our agency actually directly manages about 100 different businesses using GMB. So definitely not just to take our word for it. The content we've put together here today is based on our observations and experience in proactively managing these accounts for folks. So our question today is, what do the best performing businesses on the Google platform look like? But first, let's start with the foundational information on what is a Google business profile. So your Google business profile is the card, the core information of everything Google knows about your business online. Your Google business profile is likely your single largest source of organic exposure for your business because of the size and scale of Google's products. It's that same core information about your business that's in your business profile that is surfacing in places like Google Maps, Google search results, as well as where Google distributes these things through their API. So let me show you an example of just how important this reach can be to your location. This is a case study that was shared with us by the Independence Visitor Center up in Philadelphia. This is the visitor center where the Liberty Bell resides. And in 2018, they had 25.5 million interactions in their online audience. That was a combination of visits to their website, reach on social media, exposure in Google search, in Google Maps, etc. Of that 25.5 million, 22.5 of that exposure came directly from Google products and services related to that business, which means that the contact the customers first interacted with was the business profile for the visitor center. 85% of their total online audience was first engaging with the business through their business profile. When folks are doing searches for things like everything from restaurants to hotels to plumbers, you will find that Google surfaces listings in what's called the local pack. This is typically 3 to 4 business profiles and a map that gets featured in the search results for the name of a city plus a particular type of business. The thing we get asked most frequently is why these 3 business profiles are coming up in the search result. So to try to uncover some of the mystery of that particular question, there are 3 factors that make up the reason why which businesses show up in the local pack that do. Now, the first of these factors is one you're not going to have any control over, and that is distance. Google is taking into account which locations are closest to the person doing the search. This is particularly relevant to mobile searches. If you're in a crowded urban area, you can actually move a couple of blocks and run the same search and get different restaurants in your search results. The other 2 areas that influence this are relevance and prominence. Relevance is how close a match your business is to what the consumer is searching for, and prominence has to do with your customer reviews and feedback. We'll talk about both of these a little bit more in our session today. We can share, though, some very recent research that just came out from Bright Local. On a annual basis, they take a look at which signals Google is taking into account to determine what shows up in the local pack. Previously, we were showing this data from 2018, and Google My Business signals were at the top of the list at around 25% of that influence. 2020's data was just released, and now Google My Business signals now make up a third of the ranking factor for what businesses show up in search results. By Google My Business signals, we mean the completeness, quality, and frequency of customer interaction going on with your Google business profile. At the end of the day, better business profiles drive more exposure and more engagement with your customers. And we want to help you to maximize your exposure and engagement for your business because it benefits everyone involved, your business, your locals, visitors, and your destination as a whole. First and foremost, I recommend that you download the Google My Business app, as well as engage with Google My Business online at business.google.com. I do recommend that you do both because there are some features that vary between the two platforms. And if you have the app on your phone, it's much easier to make real-time updates to things that are happening sort of in the now. You can also have others in your organization logged in to your Google My Business app at the same time, giving them an opportunity to respond as well. So we're going to start by talking about verification and completeness, because this is critical that your core information is up to date. And you really can't do anything in Google My Business without first claiming your Google business profile. So go ahead and do a search for your business on Maps or in Google Search and take a look at your business profile. If you see this icon that says claim this business, that means that your business has not yet been claimed. That means you can't actually use Google My Business to manage your information. You want to be logged into the Google account that you want to use to manage the business. Go ahead and click on that claim this business icon and go through the process to verify with Google that you are the rightful owner of this business. I do want to call out that in the chat section of this call, there is a link to Calendly where you can book office hours with our team here at Miles. You can take advantage of to get help with claiming your business profile on Google. So if you haven't done it yet and you want to be walked through the process, we actually have some quick and easy tools to help you claim your business profile. So if you haven't done so, we are here and happy to help with that step. Once you have claimed your Google My Business profile, you can go to business.google.com or into the app to manage your core information. We recommend starting with the Info tab, which is where your primary information about your business is housed. Their name, address, phone number, website, hours, description, etc. We want to make sure that these are both accurate and consistent across multiple platforms. These days, hours are critically important. This was one of the things we talked about in our COVID recovery session last time we got together. But I wanted to reiterate it here because there has been a 300% growth in the search term open now on Google. And this is really the number one thing customers are looking for about a business. There's been some recent updates in the interface in Google that will actually show when the last time the business updated the hours. So in addition to your listing showing whether or not you are opened or closed, or if you are closed, when you will reopen, there's now actually a footnote that tells the customer when the last time your hours were updated was. If that was 2 years ago, you may end up with some skepticism from your customers about whether those hours are accurate. Additionally, Google added a new feature called for more detailed hours that can be added to your location. That's in the section called More Hours. More Hours will let you set different hours for things like drive-through, takeout, delivery, and special hours for seniors. You can pick any of these categories and by day of the week, say when these services are available. This is particularly helpful if things like your delivery and pickup do not operate at the same hours as your dining room. Also within special hours, we can pick and choose when we are open or closed on specific dates. This was designed to allow businesses to notify Google what their hours will be on holidays, but it also has other applications as well. In the current environment, sometimes businesses need to close temporarily because of COVID-19, and so they can pick the specific dates that they're going to be closed. We've also unfortunately seen hurricane impacts that have created temporary closures or changes in hours for specific dates for business. And this is where you can update this. And so now in real time, when your customers are looking to see what current conditions may have impacted your hours, they're going to get up-to-date information. If you're a hotelier, your check-in and check-out time is also available in Google My Business for you to edit. Let's talk about service areas. Some sorts of businesses don't operate out of a brick and mortar location, but instead either meet their customers in other locations or visit them in their home. And that's where service area businesses come in. Maybe you operate a business out of your home and don't want your home address to show up as your business location in Google. This is the means by which you address this. This is also applicable for folks who operate tours or charters. Within your information tab, you can add a service area. Your service area lets you distinguish where you provide goods and services. I would recommend including a lot of narrow locations rather than very broad locations. For example, let's not put in the entire state of Louisiana. If you are operating in a particular county, zip code, or city, you can specify that within your service area. Categories and attributes are really important in the concept of relevance. Remember our three influencers here for what shows up in search results. The first one that we can control is relevance. How closely are we a good match for what the consumer is searching for? Categories is one of the ways to address relevance. There are almost 4,000 categories available in Google My Business. Every business has to have a primary category, but you can have multiple secondary categories as well. And there is a lot in there, everything from bouncy castle hire to my personal favorite, cat hostel. I didn't realize we had that many backpacking cats. There's just some very interesting ones within there. So don't limit yourself to one primary category. You may be a fine dining restaurant, but you may also be a steak restaurant, an organic restaurant, a seafood restaurant. The more categories that are relevant to your business that you select, the more searches you are likely to be a relevant match for. So in doing so, when you add relevant categories, you significantly expand where your business shows up and provides access. And sometimes selecting additional categories will provide access to additional features within Google My Business. Another way you can make yourself a great match for folks' searches is by going through the attributes section. The attributes that are available for your business are going to vary based on what business categories you have selected. The great thing about attributes is not only can we provide extensive information about what's available in our business, we have the opportunity to say both things that we do have, as you can see here with the check mark, as well as things that we don't have. So for example, if you do not allow pets in your location, by selecting the negative response, you can proactively let folks know that pets are not allowed, and that can help cut off consumer questions or complaints. We're also seeing different kinds of attributes surface throughout the Google ecosystem, particularly things like women-led, veteran-led, and Black-led businesses being featured in things like lists and in icons and callouts within listings. This adds some additional little flair, if you will, to your business profile and helps you connect with customers who find these attributes to be a priority. If you are a hotelier, you have the most available attributes of any business category. So do make sure that you've logged in and reviewed which of these apply to you. For hoteliers, this is particularly important when it comes to Google Hotel Finder. There's an amenities filter available in Google Hotel Finder, and the filters here are based on which amenities you select or do not select in Google My Business. So if you do want to show up as being pet friendly or having a bar, you must have that information selected in Google My Business in order to show up in that filter. There are also recent changes and additions coming out of COVID-19 to attributes, which also impact whether you will show up in searches. Things like dine-in, delivery, no contact delivery, and curbside pickup have been added as options. And you can see these filters show up prominently in Google Maps and are showing up prominently within business listings. There are also new health and safety attributes that help it make it clear in advance whether things like masks are required or temperature checks in order to engage with your business. Moving into menus, services, and products. This is another great way to expand your relevance. Depending on your business category, you can use menus, services, or products to add additional content to your business profile. If you are a restaurant, you have the option of adding your menu into your Google My Business profile. Now, images of menus uploaded by either you or your customers are often featured in your listing, but you can actually go in and add each of your menu items directly into your profile as well. If you're an accommodation and you have limited access to some of these features, but you are also an event or a wedding venue, if you designate yourself as an event venue or a wedding venue, you are going to get access to the ability to add services to your listing. You can find products and services under the products menu item over here at the left. This can be used if you are selling physical products or if you do things like classes and tours. Those can also be added and featured in here as a product. And then it's going to show up here in your business profile. You get this additional tab for menu, product, or service in your listing where those products and services then get featured in the profile. For restaurants, we can go so far as to add photos for our signature dishes, which can show up here in your profile. Is really visual. It's almost like advertising for your menu items there. Wanted to talk a little bit about booking. We get asked this quite frequently. More and more often, businesses have the ability to integrate booking or reservations into their Google Business profile. Now is a really good time as folks are doing more online and looking for contactless options to enable online booking and purchases through your GMB profile. How to do that varies quite a bit depending on what industry you are in. But the Reserve with Google platform enables customers to book things like tickets and tours in directly in a business profile. You can see in this example here, if I want to go to the Empire State Building, I can actually buy tickets for my tour directly through their Google business profile. Now, Google isn't integrating directly with your business to do this. It's actually using third-party platforms that you are already active on. It allows for the entire process where I can pick my product and go all the way through and buy. The providers for that Google works with vary quite a bit by category. So I recommend that you look in your menu item for the bookings tab. Depending on what business category you are in, you're going to find suggested partners that Google has integrated with in that area. Now, if you work with one of these booking providers, then you'll be able to integrate your booking through that provider with your Google business profile. Clicking through on any of these items will explain to you how. There are many more global tourism-specific platforms that seem to be on their way or recently unlocked in the Google ecosystem. So if you don't find one that you are currently using right now, I do recommend that you come back and check frequently, because they seem to be being added on a pretty frequent basis. You can also learn more by going to google.com/maps/reserve. This will tell you a little bit more about the program, as well as this is an area that Google is also featuring businesses who have booking integration set up. If you're a hotelier, integrations are handled through OTA platforms. However, you can now integrate your own direct booking platform as well, depending on which booking service you use. Go to google.com/hotels/partners to see if the partner that you work with is available for that integration. It's also interesting to note that vacation rentals are now integrated into hotel search, but you cannot have a Google business profile for an individual vacation rental, only a vacation rental agency. If you own an individual unit, it is your listing on places like Expedia, HomeAway, Hotels.com, VBRO, etc., that is getting pulled into the Google search results. So you'll want to maintain your listing on those platforms, depending on which one is pulling into Google for your business. Just do a search and find out which one that is. We'll move on to talk a little bit about reviews. Customer reviews are posted by users directly on your business profile, and they're going to appear wherever your business profile appears and are the source of the star rating for your business. Bright Locals research has found that 57% of consumers will only use a business if it has a 4-star rating or above. In fact, there's also been some interesting research done by Uberall where they compared the star rating of businesses with their consumer conversion rate. And you can see that between 3.7 stars and 4.4 stars, movement in that area can increase conversion rate by 80 to 120%. So as a business owner, you should be targeting an average rating of 4.4 or higher in order to maximize your conversion. Volume is also important when we're thinking about reviews. You really want to be in the area of having at least 100 reviews of your business in order to maximize growth. This data here is showing us what the average number of reviews is across different business types. And in pink, you'll see the recommended amount in order to maximize your growth rate. And you can see in the travel, tourism, and leisure category, that volume is around 150 reviews. Your reviews are the key factor behind the third factor in what influences what shows up in search results. And this is called prominence. Prominence is looking at the frequency, quality, and quantity of reviews that your business receives. If you are being reviewed frequently and you are consistently receiving positive reviews, that is going to factor positively into your rank in search results. In fact, review signals are the #2 factor in determining what is showing up in local search. I highly recommend that you do a little math here periodically to see how you're doing in terms of your star rating. We call this calculating your rating vector. What you want to do is take a look at your last 15 reviews in Google My Business, add up the star rating for those reviews, and divide it by 15 to get the average. Then compare that to your current star rating. So for example, if our current star rating is 4.4 and my last 15 reviews were 4.5, then I'm on a positive trend. My reviews have been coming in even stronger than my average. If my average is 4.4, then I'm still doing good and holding steady. However, I find that the average of my last 15 reviews is 4.1. I've been getting more negative reviews than usual, and I'm on a downward trend with my star rating. One bad review is not going to tank your business. But this kind of evaluation is the same kind of evaluation that Google is doing in determining search results for businesses. So a downward vector is going to have a negative impact on your search rank. Now, we talked about this in our last session about maximizing your business profiles in response to COVID-19. But I did want to reiterate that responding to reviews is critically important for your business's prominence. In your settings in Google My Business, make sure that you have the box checked so that you're receiving a notification when new reviews are posted to your business. You want to respond to as many of your reviews as possible. Even for positive reviews, it's a good gesture to at least thank your customers for taking the time to support your business. Your negative reviews, you're going to want to try to take offline and continue that conversation in order to provide optimal customer service and possibly turn that review around. Another topic we mentioned in the last session that I think is worth repeating is the ability to post content using posts in GMB. Posts take advantage of the huge amount of organic visibility that your business profile has by almost providing free advertising for what's going on in your location. And yet we find it is highly underutilized by businesses. Posts are free. There is no cost per click. You can track the number of views and clicks that your posts receive. They're very visual, allowing you to feature images or video clips. And they can directly link into your website or your booking engine. You can access posts via the Posts tab in Google My Business. This is where you'll be able to see all of your previous posts and their performance metrics, as well as create new posts with specific buttons such as book, buy, learn more, and sign up. In our experience, the median amount of views per week that a post will receive is around 3,000, excuse me. This varies quite a bit based on the volume of searches in your market, but the average interaction rate between consumers and posts is around 1%. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you compare it to things like banner ads and paid search advertising, banner ads are only about 0.5%. Paid search comes in around 2%. So a post on Google is really performing better than banner ads and not quite as well as pay-per-click search. Some tips on using posts effectively. Try to use attention-grabbing photos with bright colors and simple single subjects. If you have great photos on your Instagram, this is a place you can repurpose those because the format is very similar. You have up to 300 characters or words, excuse me, for your message, but recommend that you focus your message on those first 85 to 100 characters because that's what's going to be visible in your post. And if you are actively using Google Campaign tracking codes in your other digital advertising, you can also add tracking codes to the call to action button in your Google post. A couple other best practices are keeping 2 posts live at one time to maximize the view rate. You can have more posts than that, but they won't get as much visibility and you'll reduce your overall visibility of your oldest post. Do keep in mind that posts are only available for 7 days. They are meant to provide real-time updates, so you will need to repost each week. Also recommend that you post early in the week if you're promoting something that's coming up the following weekend. Many people start thinking about their Fridays and Saturdays on Mondays and Tuesdays. You don't want to miss all of that early week audience. We've found that event posts have the best overall performance for directly managed profiles. Events have the greatest number of available options and are presumed to be very timely. There is also a new COVID-19 update post type, which is a limited time option, but will post at the top of your profile if you need to reassure your customers about safety. We also encourage you to add photos to your Google business profile on a regular basis. We have found that the more frequently a business adds photos to their listing, the better they are performing in search. Here are some best practices around the photos to select for your Google My Business profile. You want to be informative. What does a potential visitor want to know about this place? Consider the scope and scale and context of your location. So for example, if I have a gallery, it's better to show an overall image of the gallery than to focus in on one piece of art. Is it attractive? And this may seem self-evident, but consider using color, contrast, saturation, and bright lighting in your images, as well as keeping the basics like focus and leading lines correct. Also recency. Customers want to know what things look like right now. They're looking for reassurance of whether a place is open, safe, etc. Here's an example in practice. This photo on the left of the Branson Ferris wheel is great. It's informative. I can see the name of the attraction. It's eye-catching. It looks fun. It has great framing. The photo on the right is pretty bad. I call this the Scooby-Doo Ferris wheel because it looks like it could be abandoned or haunted. It's off kilter. It isn't particularly informative and is much less appealing. This is another great example. This is the same plate of food uploaded to the exact same business profile, but one has great framing, light, saturation, etc. The other one really does sort of look like a plate of raw fish. You can see that in the results. The photo on the left received over 111,000 views versus barely 11,000 views for the one on the right. That's a 10 times increase in viewership for the better photo. Some other best practices to consider. First, only upload photos that you created yourself or you know you own complete rights to. You don't want to get into any trouble with using other folks' photography. Go ahead and upload the largest image that you have, even if it is large as a 4K image. Let Google figure out on their end how to break it down for various platforms. Highest quality in will be the highest quality out. Don't use filters, save it for Instagram. While you can edit your brightness, color, and contrast, no, Google is not looking for things like sepia tone or any of the other kind of moody filters that you can do on social media, and also does not want to see collages or text over images. Finally, avoid seasonal images. Unless it's relevant to your location, you don't want to oversaturate your photo gallery with pictures of Christmas lights. Keep your horizontal and vertical lines as straight as possible. Upload mostly horizontal images. Google's products tend to make more use of horizontal than vertical images. And last but not least, and this one's a little tough, Google really favors interiors without people. Interiors without people are going to perform better. And avoid having identifiable places or personal information in the photos that you upload unless you're certain that you have release forms. You can also flag poor quality and irrelevant content that's been added to your profile by customers. Every image in the upper right-hand corner has a flag associated with it, or there's a 3-dot menu next to the name of the contributor of the image, depending on which platform you're on. No matter which one you use, you're going to get this dialogue that says, hey, what's wrong with this image? It can be because it is a copyright issue, privacy issue, or is otherwise offensive or explicit. But there are also options for an image to be poor quality or just plain not a photo of that location. You can use this to flag poor quality images that users have added to your business profile without and have them removed from your profile so that the high quality images that you're uploading directly have more visibility. So at this time, I want to open up the floor for any questions about the Google My Business platform and some of these best practices. Again, I also encourage you to schedule some office hours with our team here at Miles. This Calendly link is available in the chat and will allow you to choose a day and time to meet with us. We can help you claim your Google business profile, as well as answer any questions that you might have about managing your listing, integrating your booking, responding to reviews, etc. We are here for you and happy to help. So with that, I want to go ahead and open it up for questions. We typically do that in the chat box, although I am not seeing that in my menu bar. We're a relatively small group, so if you do have a question and want to unmute yourself, happy to take verbal questions as well.
Kim, it's Teresa. Just to reiterate, so our DMO partners who are on here are CVBs and tourist organizations are free to share this information with all of their industry partners, be it restaurants or attractions or hotels, and they can schedule those office hours as well, right?
Yes, the office hours are available statewide. And this is great information for your individual businesses, or if as a DMO, if you manage a welcome center or a conference center and you have individual Google business profiles for locations you manage, you can take advantage of some of these techniques as well.
Kim, it's Jennifer. I'm not seeing the link in the chat if you're able to pop that in there.
I am actually not able to see the chat at all.
Oh,
And I'm not sure why that is, because that's usually how I do Q&A.
I have chat on my end. I haven't seen any questions come through.
Okay.
What we can do is follow up with all of our registrants with that link to, or yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
send
sort of a lot to write down. There's a lot of words
that.
for the link. I'm sorry, I can't, typically I paste it in the chat, but I don't know if my chat is MIA.
That is strange. Well, we can follow up after this, like right after this presentation with the link to schedule those office hours. And y'all can all pop in and get some time scheduled with the Miles team.
For sure. I would say if you are a destination, spend a few minutes after we're done here and Google some of your top restaurants and make sure or attractions that you know are open, and just kind of do a quick audit and see if they're open. What I've found traveling around the state is that a lot of them aren't. So I think this is a really helpful tool for your certainly your stakeholders, and again, just encouraging that share.
Yeah, same. I'm experienced the same thing with doing some driving around the state, that there's just some incorrect listings pretty much everywhere with if they're open, for if the dining room's open, if they're doing delivery, if they have, they're open at all. So this is one of those examples of something that's really, really useful to your attractions and restaurants, hotels, everything like that. So definitely, once we have this recording up, I would say share this around with everybody, because that's something that would be very, very useful for them. And I'm not seeing any additional questions come through, so we can go ahead and probably go ahead and wrap up for the day. Let everybody get back to their normal work schedule, and see you all hopefully at our next webinar.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.